doing the late night spit. How y'all been, man? I haven't done a live in a few days. All right. What's going on with y'all, man? I'm here. I'm here. Yes, I am. Have not done a live with the family in a couple of days, but I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys had a good week. Ready to chop it up with the fam on the late night tip. Hope everybody's going to have a productive weekend. I hope you did some very constructive things this week. Let me get all my microphones and stuff together. I hope you did some very constructive things this week, family. All right. Just waiting on everybody to come on in the room on this lovely Friday evening. What I want to talk about, I'm going to take some calls in a minute, but I wanted to chop up some game about a few things. We keep hearing these stories, and I touched on this the other day on my main broadcast about how there is this thing at the African American Museum in Washington, D.C., where they're going to get a Latinx rather. They're going to have a Latinx curator come in and have a section about how Latinx history ties in with foundational Black American history. And a lot of people are very confused by that, as they should be. This is another part of the erasure of our culture when they desperately try to tie in all of these different groups with us. That is done for the sole purpose of ultimately erasing us. That is not a compliment. That is not a glow up. That is not a good look. When they are tying in all of these groups with our history, that is meant to erase the focal group, which is us. This is supposed to be a museum about Black history. And they're trying to crowbar in Latinos, talking about, well, there's Afro Latinos, and there's been a lot of debate going on today. Soledad O'Brien, she's been hopping in the conversation. Yeah, there's Black Latinos, whoop de whoop. And by the way, Soledad O'Brien has a zaddy, and she blocked me a long time ago. I don't know why she blocked me. But these people are Black when it's convenient, and when they see foundational Black Americans making moves, there's this thing where you gotta latch on to it, because when we start doing our own thing and leave them to fight and fend for themselves, then nobody's going to do that. None of these other groups want to fend for themselves. And I'm not talking about one particular group, I'm talking about all of them. These groups don't want to fend for themselves under this system of white supremacy. I want our FBA family to understand this. We are the ones who do all the ass kicking, all the fighting, all the stomping to make sure that some semblance of justice is going to go down. And then everybody piggybacks off that. But when we start to delineate and say, we need to do something for our foundational Black American community right now, we got to prioritize ourselves. All of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. They see that we're prioritizing the foundational Black American family. So now there's this real desperate attempt so everybody can kind of latch on to what we're doing. So now with this whole thing about Afro Latinos, and I told people about the reparations thing, why it's very important for it to be lineage based, because if you make it race based, they're going to bring in the Afro Latinos. I told people that was going to happen. They want to make reparations race based so they can bring the Afro Latinos in. And I'm telling y'all why they're doing this, why they're setting this up. I'm tying this all in. They see this reparations thing ain't going nowhere. And ultimately, they're going to have to cough up some dough. They understand that, because the reparations movement right now is going too strong, and we ain't budging. And the Democrats, they're going to crash and burn so bad. They have to do something to get us back on board. So reparations is going to come. Let's be very clear. Don't let no naysayers fool you. It's going to come. But what they want to do, they're getting in front of it right now. They want to trick bag it up so that they can bring in Latinos. All right, this is what they're trying to do. I'm telling y'all what the chess move is that they're doing now. They're planting the seed early. That's why they want to get some Latino stuff in the museums. They want to bring out the Soledad O'Briens and all of these people who distance themselves from blackness. They want to bring all of these people around and have them talk about how Latinos done so much for the black community, and nobody can tell you what exactly that is. They want to talk about the Latino and black history, which nobody can tell you what that is. I would like to know what it is. If there's anybody in the room who can tell us about that history, have at it. I would love to have you on the stage. But they're trying to tie in a non existent history and revise history so that they can latch Latinos onto our reparations claim as a way to neutralize it. You understand? So now you're going to start hearing a lot of revisionist history. And what they're going to do, they're going to get a lot of their Democratic shills to start towing that line. I guarantee you guys, watch, y'all about to start hearing honey baked ham shaped Roland start talking about how Latinos done all of this stuff for the United States. And by the way, and let's be clear, Haitians are considered Latinos. Okay, that's another thing. A lot of y'all don't know that Haitians, they are considered Latinos because of the island of Hispaniola in which Haiti is on. It shares the island with the Dominican Republic. That island is Hispaniola. So technically, not culturally, but in a technical sense, they're considered Latinos. That's why they have more of a camaraderie with Hispanic immigrants than they do us. So they're going to try to use them. They're going to try to use a lot of the black Haitians. That's why they want to get us on board with tying them into our history. They've been talking about the brother who went to Chicago, disabled, trying to tie him into the history, which he didn't bring anything culturally relevant from Haiti over here. And remember, a few weeks ago, they were, well, not a few weeks ago, last week, they were trying to say that Fats Domino was Haitian, which he's not. You see, watch these little words that they spew here. Watch what they do. Speaking of Haitians, man, they sit up here. People talk about us being divisive because we want to focus on our lineage group, and there's nothing wrong with that. But other groups, they do it all the time and nobody bats an eye. We had this conversation earlier in New York. Do y'all know that in Brooklyn alone, there's about a dozen different Haitian Christian churches in Brooklyn alone? I know in Queens they had all types of different Caribbean churches, but in Brooklyn alone, there's about a dozen Haitian Christian churches. And we were pointing that out earlier, and there were some fools in there trying to splain. I'm like, no, nigga, maybe they Haitian people, they speak French Creole. Stop it. They just want to be around their own language. Stop it. Stop it. They want to be around their own group. They're not going to give money to Foundation of Black Americans in church. See, the name of the game is for everybody to come over here and get everything they can out of us. But the thought of them giving any of us a dime, oh, that's blasphemous. They're not going to give us nothing. Just the thought of any of these other groups who eat off us giving us something, even in a church, they'll form their own little Haitian church across the street before they give us a dime. And then they want to point the finger saying we're divisive. No, 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 no. We're not going to play that game. We're not going to be shamed. If everybody's going to look out for their group, Foundation of Black Americans are going to look out for theirs. And if all of these Latino groups want to latch on to our history, talking about there were some Afro Latinos who did this and that, well, my sister Wani pointed some very good information out. There were some Latinos who were Jewish. Okay. In fact, one of a major slave owner, Aaron Lopez, I think he was in Rhode Island, a huge slave owner. He was Jewish. He's Latino. I think his family was from Portugal or Spain. Why don't you go to the Jewish museum and say, hey, let's get a Latino section in there? You're not going to do that. You wouldn't disrespect them like that. They wouldn't let you disrespect them. If you went to the Jewish community and said, I want to get a section for Latinos in your museum, they'd get you the hell up out of here. There are Latinos who have some indigenous ancestry from some of the native tribes. They're not going to some of those indigenous museums trying to get a quote unquote Latino section. They know better. Those tribes will be like, man, get the hell out of here with that. If y'all don't bounce, y'all came from the people who stole our stuff. Get out of here. You understand? So if there was a museum like in Spain somewhere, they can't go there and say, hey, I'm Spanish too. Let's get something in the museum in Spain about Western Hemisphere Latino history. They would get laughed out of Europe. You understand what I'm saying? All of these other groups would laugh them out the building. So they have to bring that stuff to us. We have to start laughing them out the building too and say, no, that's not going to be it. We're not playing that game. We're not going to let people latch on to our history and lineage, the suffering that our family did. Other people can kind of latch on to it and benefit from it. Now, we have to cut that nonsense out, family. We really have to speak out against that. We got to start really gatekeeping the culture. That's why we're working so very hard to finalize the museum that we have out here. We've already put the deposit down. The museum is in escrow right now. We're signing the paperwork. We just did an inspection yesterday. We're doing an appraisal sometime next week. So this thing is a done deal. We're getting it cracking. And it can't come soon enough. Now let me get some folks in here. We got a lot of folks in here. A lot of people in here chopping it up. Let's get Minister Toya. All right, let's get Minister Toya in here. What's up, Minister Toya? How are you, dear? You want to turn that microphone on, Minister Toya?
How you doing, Brother Tariq?
I'm good. How are you, beloved?
I'm blessed and favored. Oh man, you just hit on a subject that I've been talking about for so long. How these at first they didn't want to be recognized as Afro Latino. You know, it was like
Right.
the Negro in the closet. You remember that documentary that guy did, the Negro grandma in the closet?
Yes.
When they talked about all the Peruvians and they broke down, what mulatto meant and all of that.
Yes.
And they wanted to deny their Afro heritage. They wanted to deny that the first president of Mexico was a black man. They wanted to deny all of that, right? So now that
Mm-hmm.
they see that we're serious about delineating, we're serious
Yes.
about becoming our own entity, they want to latch on to us. But there's no way they can latch on to us because they're not the ones that built this country. They're not the ones who
Exactly.
are consistently being arrested, shot down the street, have been Jerry lined, Jim Crow, slavery. Their kids weren't fed to alligators. All of the
Yeah.
terrible things that happen to us. Everybody wants to land on our claim, from the LGBTQ community to the diaspora to now these, and it's always been Latins. Mexicans have always tried to latch on. Actually, there was a book that they had in one of the schools in Texas where they took out the slaves, the black people, and put Mexicans in working in the fields. Uh,
Wow.
I'm gonna
Wow.
find that book for you. I'll send it to you. I'm gonna find it. It was some years back. I heard
Yes,
about
ma'am.
that. But yeah, I just want to say I'm really excited about the pull up in October. I definitely will be there.
Yes.
We pulling up all across the state for you. We supporting you. Uh,
Yes,
and,
ma'am.
and
I
and we
appreciate
pulling up
you.
in
I
Minnesota.
appreciate you. I'm sorry, sister. I had to get y'all. Had to land the plane for you. Thank you so much. And yeah, by the way, we're still planning on the October 15th rally in DC. We're still waiting on all the permits and all the paperwork and all that, but we are still scheduled for October 15th. Once we get that permit and the official green light, we're going to start promoting this thing like heavy. We're going to hit the ground and really try to make this thing as big as possible. But the sister, she hit on a great point. Many people in Latino society, they've gone out of their way for many years to hide that black abuela that they have. All of them got a black abuela somewhere, and they went out of their way to hide black abuela. You understand? They've gone out of their way to deny that black ancestry. Now that we are showing that we understand the value in our lineage and our history and our ethnic group, and we don't want to latch on with anybody. We don't want to have a fake one sided coalition no more. We see value in our FBA family, which is what we should have been doing a long time ago. We've given our value to everybody else, we give it away. We're starting to say, you know what? Let's not give our stuff away because we've given it away so much, people will take it and then turn around and tell us, well, y'all ain't got no culture. So now we're fixing that. We're like, no, no, no. All the things that we create and everything that we innovate and invent and um, start up, we're just going to own that and chalk it up to our FBA heritage because we've been the only ones consistently putting stuff up on the scoreboard as far as culture for a long time. And the problem is, all of these other groups, and I've said this many, many times, when they come over, they get around us, and then when they do something constructive, they make sure that we don't get credit for anything they do constructive. So they get around us and blend in and get all types of minority benefits. But the minute they get a PhD, I'm the first Ugandan American PhD holder in my family. I'm the first Colombian or Zambian PhD. I'm the first Ghanaian artist to win a Grammy in this category. You see, they make sure to differentiate themselves from us. But when all the riffraffs pop off, they want to dump them on us. And that's another thing, family. I'm not letting nobody dump their trash on us no more. When we see crimes happening in New York, I'm telling you, about 98% of those crimes that's done by so called black people, these are non FBA. There was a dude earlier, the story I posted up. Um, this 18-year-old dude shot like an 11-year-old girl, and they arrested him. And his name was like a Gambian name. I'm like, that's non FBA. He ain't got nothing to do with us. And then a couple of tethers hopped in the chat. Oh, why you being divisive? No, no, no. Y'all not don't dump your trash on us. I'm just saying that he ain't FBA. I'm making a point to let y'all know this dude, when we look up his background, his last name is Gambian. He has a Gambian last name. That dude ain't FBA. Don't dump your trash on us. You hold your trash, own your trash. We ain't taking nobody's trash. That's the problem. Everybody dumps their trash on us, and then we have to take the brunt of everything. We ain't doing that. If we have to account for our dusty niggas and hood rats, you account for your dusty ones too. We're off dust duty right now. What's up, Dusty Beans? Speaking of Dusty, what's up, Dusty Beans?
Hey, how's it going, Tariq? I'm a gay Mexican. Just something. I'm not trolling. I know you get a lot of trolls. Be real quick with it. I discovered your Mink slide stuff was playing in my Spotify, R&B radio.
Yes,
I was really disappointed you didn't decide to go with My Party as your lead single. That's the best song, man. I love getting my pussy blown out to that song.
I bet you do, man. With a little Spanish rice on the side. So, now where are you? You from? Are you from LA? Where you from, man? Elmaz, you here? Oh, he's out. Okay, he just wanted to talk about getting his pussy blown out. Okay, that's okay. I know a lot of y'all are kind of freaky. Let's get Prince in here.
Hey, how you doing, Tariq? Love the no jumper interview you did. Love the interview you did with Ack. Um,
Yeah,
we got the Freedman News Network. I was wondering if you had some time to do an interview, if not this month, next month. Talk about FBA, talk about the rally. Anything you want to talk about.
yeah, man. Email me. We'll see what's going on. Yeah, email me and let me know what's going on, and we'll make something happen. Let me get let's get Afro Elite in here. Let's get brother Afro Elite in here. Afro Elite, what's going on, brother?
Can you hear me clearly?
I'm good. I can hear you. I can hear you. What's going on with you, fam?
Okay. I wanted to speak on the fact that a lot of them, especially the Hispanics and Mexicans, are trying to tie in the fact that slaves fled to Mexico. Not all of the slaves fled to the north. Some of them fled to Mexico, and they try to use that as if the Mexicans and Black Americans were always allies because we fled to Mexico. And I posted this a couple years ago. What a lot of people don't realize is Mexico was actually a slave place. A lot of slavery went
Yeah.
on there until a black man, Vicente Guerrero, and I think it was the 1500s. He ended slavery in Mexico. And when I
No, it was
18,
1800s.
okay,
It
yeah,
was in the 1800s.
okay, thank
1800s.
you.
Yeah, he
Um,
did. And yeah, he ended. Yeah, he ended slavery, and then the wannabe white Mexicans killed
yeah,
him
they killed him.
because they didn't want to. Yeah,
They
yeah.
betrayed him.
Also, but when they talk about the black people who went into Mexico, those were the Seminoles, the black Seminoles. That was John Horse and his people. They went out. They were in Oklahoma, and you had some of those wannabe white supremacists. Indians trying to round them up and sell them back into slavery. So they bounced out of Oklahoma, went down into Texas, and then they went to the Spanish government, made a deal to get political immunity or political protection. And the deal was they were going to protect the border of Mexico. So it wasn't like they were just some little poor, downtrodden people who were getting this handout from Mexico. It was a mutually beneficial deal. They protected the border from a lot of hostile Indians, the Texas Rangers. The Black Seminoles beat the brakes off the Texas Rangers when they went down there to Mexico, and they were called the Muskogos, and some of the descendants are living there now. But yeah, them trying to make it seem like they have some type of Latino origin, they do not. These people came from South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. These were foundational Black Americans who went down there, and they had a deal, and many of them were coming back and forth. John Horse was going back and forth from Mexico and the U.S. So they have to tell the whole story and put it in context.
And
You
many of the people who were fighting with him were the reason why they defeated the Spanish in the first place.
Yes,
It was
indeed.
a lot of the black people who defeated the Spanish. It wasn't the white Mexicans.
All exact in almost every battle down there, it was the black folks doing all the damn heavy lifting in every single battle down there in Mexico, and even just Latin America. Period. It was always the black people putting in all the work. Down there, when they talk about Cinco de Mayo, those were the black Maroons down there putting in the work. So we got to put all of that stuff in context. And by the way, after what's going, what you were beefing with somebody? What's going on with that? Why? What's going on? Because I don't keep up with none of this stuff, but there was some beefing going on with some of you guys. What happened, brother?
Okay, well, it's really a long story, and but to be short, to be brief with it, me and Secure the Tribe, specifically Male, Sonny, and Booby, we got into it because they kind of, and just to take my word for it, they kind of got on like a power trip after the viral space. They were calling everybody off code, calling everybody tethers, and I respectfully went in there, tried to correct them. They would ostracize people, mute people, ban people. All of this is on my YouTube channel, by the way. And it wound up becoming a thing where they were posting people's like personal information. They were threatening people, and we went back and forth. And this was like in April,
Yeah,
and then uh, we went. I was trying to correct what B1 means because they were saying that B1 only applies to Black Americans, and I was making spaces about it. They were making spaces about it, and that's why Jason got involved. And Jason made the space about what B1 means. After Jason made that space, then they started going after Jason Black and Professor Black Truth. And then I made another tweet about them. I was, addressing them on my YouTube channel, and it was kind of dead until some people tried to act as if we can all get along. And I said, if we can all get along, then they need to apologize for all of the things that they've been saying. And they pulled up an old clip from my YouTube, and they were pretty much saying, to hell with that. They
yeah.
pretty much said they're not apologizing for anything. And you don't even have to take my word for it. I literally have proof of them doing all of this stuff like from months ago.
Okay,
So it's a lot of stuff that's a lot of people don't realize because it happened like uh several months ago.
okay, okay. All right. Well, I hope everything can get straight, and because I know people don't need to be beefing right now. We got to be real focused, but hopefully everybody can work it out and get it together, man. So I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Let's get Dog Maui. Let's get him in.
Yes, Black Molly. It's all good though. How you doing, Tariq?
I'm good, sir.
Not
How are
bad,
you?
not bad. I was just bumping Mink slide last night, but I wasn't doing none of that weird shit that homeboy was saying.
Good, good. Long as you weren't
Yeah,
twerking
yeah,
your pussy. So what's on your mind,
yeah. No,
brother?
I'm just, it's been a while since you've been saying some nonsense, but like, I just want to know what's your particular beef with East Africans? Can I know what it is? Like, I just don't understand.
Who's beefing with East African? What
No,
beef?
I mean, maybe nothing right now. Maybe you're not like that currently, but there's been a lot of times where I've been trying to speak to you, but I haven't had the opportunity. But maybe like a couple of months ago, you had like a beef with Ethiopians specifically. I'm Ethiopian myself.
What beef did I have? I've never had
Okay,
Ethiopians.
okay, it's all
Never.
good then. Maybe I just heard the wrong thing. It's all good.
Well, there were some people from your homeland calling into our spaces, kind of trolling. That was the problem. We didn't have a problem with them because we're here in our homeland. So why would we have a problem with people from a foreign land that we don't have anything to do with? You had people who were consistently coming in the rooms, trolling and calling us all types of N words and trying to get into roast sessions. And what happened was they got roasted back and then they started crying foul. So the question is, why do so many people from your culture have so much vitriol towards foundational Black Americans?
No, I don't think it's like that. Like the way I see it personally, from my point of view, I think when African Americans speak about African immigrants, they tend to be a little bit egotistic, in the way that they kind of speak about it. For example, they say that Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement is the reason that we came to America to begin with.
Hmm.
Okay, that's true. I'm not going to deny that. But at the end of the day, you can't say things like Africans are taking opportunities away from blacks and stuff like that. Like, or
Who said that? Who said
maybe
that?
not you personally, but this people that are on this black movement, the similar kind of mindset like you.
But nobody's thinking that you're taking opportunities. What opportunities do you think you're taking away from
None,
foundational Black
none,
America?
absolutely none.
Right, right. So nobody's saying that, sir. That's something that you guys kind of say among
No, no, I don't say
yourselves.
that. I don't. Trust me. I hear this from
Yeah,
other
we don't.
FBAs.
We're not when we talk about immigration as a whole, that kind of undermines us as a whole. We're not singling out any specific group, just immigration as a whole. And if we were to immigrate over to Ethiopia, that would undermine the Ethiopians and it would drain their resources as a whole. That's not the same as somebody saying that we're taking your jobs. So let's don't frame it like that. Let's frame it correctly.
I'm just telling you what I heard
Uh,
from other FBAs. But if that's what you believe, I'll just take your word.
Not what I believe. I don't do beliefs. I do facts, sir. So we're talking about facts. We don't have an issue, but what we do have an issue with is people who come over and they're very disrespectful to foundational Black Americans when the only reason you're here is because foundational Black Americans fought to get you here. Now we're not going to tolerate that kind of disrespect. You
Well, I
understand?
don't know if they fought to get us here. They just fought for their own rights, and we ended up here.
No, no,
Did
no,
the
no.
Native Americans fight for Black Americans to come to the U.S.? No.
Um, no, because there were some Black people who are already here. Do you understand that?
What?
Yeah,
So you think you're not
there
from
were.
Africa? You think you have no ancestry from Africa?
Did I say that?
No, you didn't say that. But
Did
hold
I?
up. So
Okay, so let's try this. Don't put words in my mouth. When I'm a grown man,
right.
I'm a very thorough brother, and I can say exactly what I mean and mean what I say. I don't need
So
you to
tell me,
try to
when you
be a
say
ventriloquist.
FBA, do you mean that like
Hold on,
what do you
okay.
mean
I'm
when you
gonna
say
need you to.
FBA?
I'm gonna need you to pump your brakes. Don't try to be a ventriloquist here. Okay, don't put words in my mouth. I'm very concise with what I said. There were Black people here already. When the Europeans got here, there were already Black people here who were enslaved. They were mixed in with the Black people who were brought over from Africa. They were all mixed together, and we became foundational Black Americans. We became a very specific ethnic group. So, yes, I have African ancestry, but I am a different ethnic group. I'm not an African American. I'm a
What's your
foundational Black
ethnicity though?
American.
What's your
It's
ethnic?
it's foundational Black American. That's my ethnicity. You understand?
Well, if you said like Hausa or like Igbo, that makes sense. But the
No.
foundation of Black American is not really ethnicity
Why isn't it one?
because it's not. What's your bloodline? You don't have an ethnic.
I do. Foundational Black American is my bloodline.
I don't I mean, you can believe that. I'm not gonna knock you, but the way I see it is like, look,
Uh,
black
but
race. It's not an identity. Black is not an identity. It's just a color. White is not a race either, in my opinion.
that's why I'm a foundational Black American.
I mean, that's
That's
not, if black is not a race, how can FBA be a race? You can't just create things and say this is an
I
ethnic group.
said it's an ethnic group. It's
You
an
can't
ethnic
create
group.
ethnic groups just like that,
All ethnic groups are created. Every single one.
just from a thought
Everyone.
in your head. You just create it. I can create one right now if I
Every
want to.
what name an ethnic group that's not created from somebody's head. Somebody created every single ethnic
That's
group on
not
the
how it
planet.
works, bro.
Yes,
Ethnic group.
that's exactly how it
That's not
works.
how it works. Ethnic group is
You're from
based off of
You're from Ethiopia. That
Yeah,
was an
absolutely.
ethnic name that was created.
Ethiopia's not an ethnic group.
The Greeks named you Ethiopia. Do you
You
understand
realize that
that?
we have like 100 ethnic groups in Ethiopia,
Uh-huh.
right?
Well, let's you better know your history. The Greeks named you Ethiopia.
No.
You know.
We were
Yes, they
called Ethiopia thousands of years before Greeks existed, bro.
no. Ethiopia means burnt skin, something
We
like that.
gave the name
Sunburnt
Greek
skin.
to Greece. We gave the name Greek to
No,
Greece, bro.
no, that was Abyssinia, sir. And Ethiopian, that's not a race. Y'all would call
This is
Abyssinia.
just a nationality. It's not a race. Nationality.
See, people just kind of make up names, just like Egypt. That was a name that somebody gave them. They were called Kemet. You see, people make up names and give names to certain
But
groups and
hold
certain
on.
ethnic groups.
The reason I don't agree with what you said earlier about FBAs already being in America prior to this enslavement of African
I
Americans.
don't. What you believe don't make no sense. The truth is the truth.
Look,
You can
hold on.
deny the truth.
How can you
That's
say that blacks existed in America when the black race didn't exist in that time? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, they did. Black people have
Maybe
always
they could have
existed.
been dark-skinned Native Americans. That
Right?
existed, yes.
Which
But
were black people. They were classified as black, sir.
black people, the term black people didn't exist until probably before, after the transatlantic slave trade started happening.
Well, sir, the term black existed for a long time. They would also use the term Moor, but they were black skinned people. Were they black Native Americans? Yeah.
And do
And
you believe that all black people have some kind of ancestry from Africa?
yeah,
Okay.
I believe that.
If you
Yeah, of
believe that,
course.
then we can agree. We can agree.
And everybody on the planet has ancestry from Africa, even
Okay, now
Asian.
come on.
No, come on, nothing. Everybody has ancestry from Africa at one point. It's a redundant term. That's why we are very specific. We're foundational Black Americans. We're not African American. We ain't been in Africa for 500 years. We're a whole different ethnic group. We're foundational Black Americans. The white supremacists, when they got here, Christopher Columbus, all the other Europeans,
Right.
they went on and on about the black people who were here. They saw black people and they said they look like the people over in Africa, all over the Americas, sir. This is very well documented. This is not a belief
But
thing.
why do other cultures don't have this kind of way of thinking? Like for me personally, I wish that all black people around the world, whether if you're from Chicago, whether you're from LA, whether you're from Haiti, I wish they would just say they're African at the end of the day. But that's not the way it is.
But they
For
don't.
example, you look at the Asians. Why can't they? They've been in the Western Hemisphere for centuries and centuries. Why do they still call themselves Asian instead of some other shit?
No, when they get over here, they call themselves Asian. But over there, they are all types of different ethnic
Yeah.
groups. Uh-huh. And over there, you guys in Ethiopia, well, you're over here, you're not in Ethiopia, but you guys don't look at yourself as one big African group. You got so many tribal beefs over there, it's ridiculous. You don't look at yourself as one.
But we don't deny that we're African though, at the end of the
Oh
day.
no,
We don't,
no, we don't either. We're African too. We got African ancestry, but I'm a foundational Black American. You are a person who's African, but you identify your ethnic group, the Ethiopians. So we identify our ethnic group, foundational Black Americans, just like Jamaicans. Jamaicans are Africans technically, but they are Jamaicans. They have their own specific culture and ethnic group. There's nothing wrong with that. We, foundational Black Americans, we have African ancestry, but we have our own very unique culture that other African people don't have. That makes sense to you, sir?
But what makes FBA culture different from American culture? I see it as the same thing. You guys just
Eh,
have American culture.
Right. We are the culture. See, that's what makes us so unique. American culture is foundational Black American culture. Everything that's fly over here, either we created it or we had a hand in creating it. Name something over here that's American culture that we didn't have anything to do with. Name it.
I mean, there's no such thing as American culture when it really comes down to it. It's either
Yes, it is.
it comes from somewhere. Everything in America either comes from Europe or Africa. That's how I see it.
Well, sir, R&B and blues and hip hop didn't come from Africa. That came from foundational Black Americans.
Yeah, but where did they come from?
It came from us, foundational Black Americans.
At one point, they were in West Africa.
At one point, everybody was in Africa, sir. Everybody came from Africa at one point.
And we're not talking about no Adam and Eve, bro. I'm talking about like
That's
recently.
yeah, yeah. If we're gonna talk about coming
There
from
were
Africa,
before
everybody.
500 years ago, 600 years ago, there was no Africans in America.
Uh-huh. Yes, there were, sir. There were African people coming over here for thousands of years. The Olmecs, other people coming over here, very well documented, sir. They were coming over here, sir. They got writings from Egypt all over this country, artifacts that they brought over from Kemet. They were trading over here for thousands of years, sir. You thought the Europeans were the first people to come over here?
No, no, no. I didn't say that.
All right, then, sir. Black people have been coming over here for thousands of years from Africa, sir. So, using the term African for everybody, hell, the people in New Guinea are African. Guinea was a part of West Africa, and they saw the people over there in New Guinea and said, okay, you guys are New Guineans.
Hmm.
But they have their own unique culture that is not African. Australians are black. They come from Africa at one point, but they have an Australian culture that is unique to them. So do us, foundational Black Americans. We are very unique. We have a very unique culture that other people don't have. We've done a lot of things that other people have not done. So we want people to respect that the same way we respect their culture. That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, I feel you, bro.
There you go. Anywho, brother. So go ahead and get you some late night injera and enjoy your nap. All right,
We'll
brother.
do, we'll do.
All right, peace. All right. There you go. See, we can keep the conversation respectful, you know? Sam, we can keep the conversation real respectful. All right, let's get some other people in here because we're gonna get some straightening when it comes to this culture. Let's get Sonny Arquette in here. Sonny Arquette, hop on in, and then we'll get Gil in. Sonny Arquette, hop in, man.
What's up, y'all? Can y'all hear me? What's going
All
on?
right,
Can y'all hear me?
we can hear you. What's going on, fam?
What's going on? First thing, you know what I mean? Shouts out to all of y'all. You know what I mean? Congratulations on the baby and everything.
Yes, sir.
What was I gonna say? Two things. One thing I don't want you to keep getting caught in, Tariq, is like letting these trolls either feel comfortable coming in, messing up progressive conversations because they'll think it's a joke and they'll just keep wanting to come in here. Cut that shit off at the door. Don't even give them the time of day to even breathe. Cut them off at the door. Get them out of here.
Hmm.
Secondly, I didn't understand because I went to college and we had this big to answer about the Latino, the Latinx thing. Why they would have always so selectively dissociate themselves with Black American culture. Like a lot of Puerto Ricans will be Black but not Black, and it's only Black when it's convenient. What should, especially with you being from LA, what do you think is the cause of that? Like the Mexican, like not even just the Mexicans, but just the Latin community, period, just being so ambiguous and wanting to selectively attach themselves to Black people some days and then have this disdain for them, like on the polar opposite time. See what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Good question, man. Well, the thing is, man, we've set up and allowed it. That's the problem. We sit up here and allow this thing. And really a lot of our political people, they sit here and tell us that we have to have this coalition with other minority groups. And we got this thing where when we see other non-white people we think are non-white, when we see any type of agreement with them, we think, okay, that's our brother in the struggle. So I got to lock arms with them. That's why we gravitated towards the Asian community because remember in the 60s, Vietnam was going on and, there was a lot of disdain for the Asian community, and then they had those Asian movies coming over here, those kung fu movies starting in the '60s, and we gravitated towards that. We made that a thing. We looked at them and said, "Okay, hey, these people are struggling minorities. They're fighting against the system, and we can rock with that, and we want to be comrades with them, and we'll support them, and we'll support their movies, and we'll support their businesses." And we never peeped our head up to see, hey, wait, this thing is kind of one sided. We've been doing this and we're supporting their stores and buying their liquor stores and going to their nail shops and eating their MSG food. And we looked up one day and we said, hey, man, this thing is really one sided. And not only is it one sided, sometimes we go in these stores and they're starting to shoot us. That was a big thing in the 80s. especially out here. And then it came to a head with our sister Latasha Harling, and things went all the way left. So we said, hey, we got to cut back all of this caping for these so-called minority groups, and they're not caping for us. And now a lot of us are starting to get the picture about this whole caping thing. And look, I got people from all of these different ethnic groups that I'm cool with, but I'm talking about um, political and collective power as a group. Because, see, that's the thing. A lot of black folks will have friends from different ethnic groups, and sometimes you'll date people from different ethnic groups. But you don't understand, when they work as a block, as a group, it's a whole different mindset. And we got to have the same thing. When we roll and operate as a group, we got to start thinking about empowering the group, not just getting some sexual benefits or a couple of nigger trinkets for ourselves. We got to get off that. We got to think about the collective group. Now, let's be clear. A lot of these black folks that you see caping for all of these other groups, many of these are non-FBA people. Remember, a lot of these people from the Caribbean, they look at themselves as fellow Latinos. So they feel like they have more of a camaraderie with some of these white-like Latinos than they do with us. And in LA, that is true as well. LA has a lot of Belizean people, and the Belizeans are, again, technically Latino. So they look at the Latino community as if they have more of a camaraderie with them than foundational Black Americans. So we have to, this is why we got to get this lineage thing in order. This is why it's very important for us to understand the importance of gatekeeping our lineage so that we know who's who around here. Let's get Gil in here. Gil, pop on, brother.
Yo, peace and love. What's going on, Tariq?
I'm good, man. How you doing, fam?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm gonna make this quick, man. I be on, Twitter space and whatnot. And I wanted to make you aware. I just wanna, let you know. I don't know how you are with firearms or stuff like that, or I don't know if you have security and stuff like that. But please just be on your P's and Q's, man, because you got suspected white supremacists and these other idiots, joking and laughing about getting you swatted.
Right,
So just
right.
make sure you're on your P's and Q's with that, because I really don't find that shit funny. I've reported them when they've done it, but I just wanted to make you aware of that, man.
No doubt, man. Much respect. Yeah, they've done that before. They've done that before, and yeah, that's a very serious thing. But again, you got to understand, these people work with law enforcement when they do stuff like that. And another thing, you have some of the tethers that be on that wave with these white supremacists too. That's the problem that I have. Is one thing when the white supremacists are on that, and then you got a couple of tethers that's on that same wave with them. Let's get Jose in here. What's up, Jose?
Hi, Tariq. Calling from Nigeria.
There you go. What's on your mind, Jose? And your name is Jose, and you're in Nigeria?
Oh, it's Joe. So just played around it. Don't worry. I mean,
Okay, got it.
it doesn't mean I'm aligning with the Hispanics or the Spanish. So
Right. Yeah.
just want to get a few questions out there. So the title talks about people desperately trying to latch on to FBA culture, and sometimes
Yeah.
when you say these things, you're leaning towards Africans as well. So what are some of those?
Anybody, just a lot of people, not just you, not just African people.
Okay.
I'm talking about Latinos, I'm talking about white LGBT, they latch on to it too. So everybody kind of latches on to our culture so they can kind of milk it. So that's the thing. Why are people so comfortable doing that?
Yeah, but I think it's a two-way street sort of thing, because I mean I've followed. I mean, yeah, let's be honest. I mean, FBA music is big in Nigeria, on the continent. We've sort of adapted that and fused it into our Afrobeat music, no doubt about that. But then there's FBA also picking stuff out of Africa as well. I see FBA. There's this outfit called the Danshiki. They wear
Right.
it here. We don't
Uh-huh.
complain. Stuff like braids, we don't complain. I mean, that's to a large extent African in nature, beads and all. So the two,
The
I mean,
braids are kind of difficult, but yeah, but go ahead.
yeah, I know. So the two-way street. But I mean, overall, I think sometimes I tried to join your Twitter space the other time. I didn't get a chance to speak, but there was a point I wanted to make that I'll make now. I think sometimes there's a tendency to elevate the minority inclinations to represent the majority. I'm talking from the point of view of blacks now. I would know about Mexicans and Hispanic and whites, and also I'll keep it to the African community in the US.
Hmm.
If you ask me, I think the majority of Africans, of black Africans, continental Africans, tend to show respect and align with FBA and black Americans. I mean,
Okay.
those who are disrespectful represent the tiny minority. I worked on a Chevron oil facility here in Nigeria that had mostly, I mean, foreign expatriates. And I noticed the Nigerians leaned more towards the African American expatriates on that facility, on that vessel, an oil and gas FPSO. You know, so there's a tendency to lean, I mean, to see Black Americans more as brothers, more as comrades, more as having same values. Yes, you occasionally get fellows who would like try to undermine FBA and all, but I think they're in the minority. So sometimes
So
there's
why?
this.
So okay, if that's the case, let me ask you this. So if that is the case, so if the majority of them see us as the brothers and we're all cool,
Mhm.
why have no African countries, particularly over there in West Africa, why have none of them offered any dual citizenship ever to foundational Black Americans? And I'm talking about dual citizenship with no strings attached. Why haven't they allocated some land to say, hey, we'll give you some land to come over here? We got plenty of land over here. We'll carve this out for you to come over here either for free or at a nice rate where you can come over and you can build with us as one big Black happy family. Why has no African nation done that?
Well, my response to that will be maybe there hasn't been interest shown from the FBA side. I
Not true.
mean,
Not true. We've
I'll
been
tell you what. I'll tell you what, Tariq. I mean that's a valid point you raised, but I don't think the plan is to show. I mean, if there's interest
Man,
shown.
we go over there visiting. We go to those slave castles, man. We bring money over there. We go over there trying to connect. Black people have been going over there for years. Asa Hilliard, Renoka Rashidi, black folks go over there doing tours. Oh my God, brother. We've been
Well,
reaching.
let me just quickly round up so I don't take up much time. I mean, again, something else I've observed. Yeah, I've seen a couple of these tweet spats between Africans or Nigerians, especially, and FBA, and I notice oftentimes what FBA use to mock us hardly has to do with who we are as individuals. About infrastructure in Africa. Oh, the internet is down. You don't have electricity. Blah blah blah. Which sort of misses the point about who we truly are, because the pushback from that will be, well, um, if you're mocking Africans based on accent, how we sound, hairlines, infrastructure, blah, infrastructure, for instance, is stuff people can easily say, well, that isn't exclusively built by FBA. I mean, the infrastructure in the United States, for instance, to a large extent is collective or maybe uh, put together by um, largely the white world, maybe. Point I'm
Mhm.
making is there should be more respect on a personal level and not.
Well, no,
Uh,
you're not going to do that. You can't do that, brother, because see, y'all do this thing where you ignore all the
mhm,
stuff people from your side says.
mhm.
We do a lot of things that's really reactionary. We open these forums, we let people talk. A lot of your guys come in here, they come in these spaces, and they immediately start disrespecting. They start trying to get into roast sessions and they try to make their little jab. And then when they do that, they get roasted back and they don't really know
Yeah.
how to roast that good. And when we start roasting them, that shit start hurting them. You see, that's the
Okay.
problem. So it
One
ain't
final
like we're
question,
picking.
Terry. One
So y'all
one
stop
final
this
question.
narrative. Listen, stop. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Y'all
Okay.
stop
Okay.
this
Okay. Cool.
narrative. Let's stop this narrative that you guys are coming in the rooms all innocent and you're just getting picked on by the big bad FBA. Y'all come in here saying foul stuff. Y'all think you're witty. And even when we don't have our own rooms, y'all have your own rooms where y'all sit up and talk crazy about us. And we just kind of charge it to the game. But then when y'all come in our rooms, talking crazy, some of these brothers start cutting you down and it starts hitting you deep, and then you want to cry foul. Don't play the
Now,
game if you don't know how to get down like that, because we
yeah,
will roast you.
yeah, I get your point. I mean, but what the point I made earlier is that, look, that's a minority. And same as FBA, I don't think it's a majority of foundational Black Americans that have issues with Africans. It's also a small minority. It's not all of them.
None of us really have an issue with African people. We really don't, because we don't really trip on
Okay.
anything. But
So
we
what?
don't want any disrespect. That's really what it boils down to. We don't. Nobody has a problem. And thank you, brother. Thank you for the call. See, that's what I don't like. I don't like people to be like, "Oh, the FBA, they called me a booty scratcher." You know, the problem is a lot of you guys were on Clubhouse and all of these other apps talking crazy about us for the longest. Y'all have these little rooms where y'all sit up here and you denigrate foundational Black Americans, even here on the Twitter spaces every day. Some of these tethers have these rooms where they're just talking mad crazy about us and trolling and just making goofy jokes and all that. And then when y'all come into these spaces with your corny, goofy jokes, hey nigga, hey, all you FBA, you baby mamas, you niggas are baby mamas. And then when we start lighting you up, if you want to go to a roast session, we're down for that. And then when you get lit up, y'all start taking it very personal and it starts hurting your feelings. You see, when some of these brothers and sisters in these spaces start really telling you the truth about yourself in jest, because they wrap it up in the roast sessions, and everything is fair game in the roast sessions. That's why I tell folks, if you want to have an intellectual conversation, that let's have one. That's a great thing. We can do that. But a lot of times when people run out of intellect, their out is to start trolling and trying to turn it into a roast session. That's their out. And the problem is, y'all try to bring that over here, and I can go intellectual and I can get to roasting too. And that's the problem. You're not going to win on either forum. And when you try to go intellectual and I spank that ass intellectually, and then you try to take it to some jokes, and then I start hitting you with the jokes. Remember when I told old boy his clothes smell like cheetah pea? That hurt them for months. They're still hurt behind that cheetah pea joke. That cut real deep. They came in trying to roast, trying to talk about my suit. Oh, your suits, you look at your suits, nigga. You get your suits tailored. And I said, man, your suits, at least they don't smell like cheetah pea. What? Cheetah pea? What is that nigga? How did you say that, nigga? So don't play that game if you don't want to go there. Foundational Black Americans, we came up playing the dozens. That's part of our culture. See, when we talk about culture, part of our culture is snapping on each other and playing the dozens. We've mastered that. That's a part of foundational Black American culture that came from slavery. You don't want to go there with us. You dig? So let me get a couple of more people in here. We got a lot of folks in here. Let's get this brother here. Um, I don't know what your name. I don't know how to pronounce your name, brother. Um, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I just let you on, man. What's your name? How to pronounce your name?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can
Yeah,
hear you.
greetings, Tariq. My name is Udo.
Udo. There you go.
Okay, so I'm gonna make it quick. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you for so beautifully articulating the types of problems and stigmas that are associated with Black Americans.
Yeah.
I'm a Nigerian, and I was born in Nigeria. I came to America before a year old. I became naturalized through my parents, my father and my mother, who are both Nigerian.
Yeah.
Second, I would like to admit that I have witnessed firsthand the toxicity in ethnic groups and any animosity or prejudice towards Black Americans. Because I've seen this like firsthand from Nigerians on all type of
Mm-hmm.
Africans. It mainly comes from our parents, the generation before me, and it kind of trickles down like to my generation, the millennials. And
Did your parents have the talk with you? Because we always hear about the talk that Nigerian parents give their children. Did they have the talk with you?
they didn't have a talk with me. But I hear about that talk all the time. My dad, he was he was one of the first, if not one of the first, very recognized, and he was like the first accountant here in Houston, Texas, or one of the first like actual CPAs. But nah, he never really had that talk with me. He was a straightforward guy, very respectful.
Wait. You said he was the first accountant in
I mean,
Houston?
like
No.
no, not like I have to do
No.
my research again, but
Okay, yeah, your dad was definitely not the first accountant
not
in
the
Houston.
first. Yeah, that's not what I meant.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. No,
No,
no.
that's not even what I meant. That's not what I meant. That's
Or even the first black one. There's
no,
been a
that's not
lot of.
even what I meant either.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, something, yeah.
So
That's you got to articulate that one, but yeah,
yeah,
you said the
I have
first.
to get better at that. But
Yeah. There were definitely black accountants in Houston going back decades. So,
no,
but
definitely,
yeah,
definitely. I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
yeah, I have to get better at that. And then I've
yes,
also seen that, from Dominicans, Colombians, and African Latinos from Honduras and so on.
yes,
And then
indeed.
to answer, Sonny's question, the guy that just came on recently, I believe that Afro Latinos or anybody that comes from any other ethnic group, they can feel that way because there's a language barrier. I believe. I believe when there's like a language barrier between certain people, there can be some type of ideas of superiority, especially here in America, towards Black
Yeah,
Americans.
yeah. All right, well, thank you. Let me get some more calls.